Hi folks, so in the video I posted yesterday, we looked at the week ahead, let's just say from about February the 18th to February 28th. And there were three things that I outlined as being important or significant. The Mars-Venus conjunction in the sign of Aquarius in 2 days' time on the 21st of February. The fact that the personal planets had started to enter into Pisces with the Sun first and Mercury next this week. And the fact that on the 28th of February, the Sun and Mercury and Saturn would conjunct in Pisces. Also, I'd mentioned that the full moon that occurs on Saturday, I think it's on the 24th of February. Let me just make sure I have that date correct. It's the 24th of February for me, Pacific time. The moon would be opposite. The moon would be in Virgo, full in Virgo, opposite the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn, which would be getting ready to meet up, all three planets on that day within 24 hours of each other around the 28th. I'm going to leave the Pisces conjunctions. I've given you a heads up of what this all means in yesterday's video. So I'm not going to recap that. And I'm going to leave the Pisces conjunctions and the Virgo full moon to future videos for future videos to follow. What is important to talk about is the Mars-Venus conjunction in Aquarius in a couple of days. It's coming up in a couple of days. Now, Mars and Venus conjunct often enough, every couple of years. Actually, while I say that, let me make sure I can actually put my money where my mouth is. And look up, I should have done this before, sorry. I'll give you a sense of, I think it's pretty much every couple of years. It's tempting to say that they do this every year, but there's something about when those two planets go retrograde that makes me feel like things get pushed out. Thanks for your patience. I don't like to, it's like I'm keeping someone on hold while I'm doing this. Oh, come on. Oh, for Lord's sake. Sorry, this is ridiculous. Sorry, all I do is apologize. Right now. They're like, what is this video where for 10 minutes this man is just, oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for. Interminable. All of a sudden, this just seems interminable. Yes, I'm right. About a year and a half. Thank you. All that wait was to basically be able to say that Mars and Venus conjunct. The last time Mars and Venus conjuncted was as March the 6th, 2022. So now on February the 21st or 22nd. Next, they will conjunct on January 2026. So I would say roughly a couple of years apart. Not every year. Thanks for your patience. Thanks. Sorry about that pregnant, agonizing, painful pause. So Mars and Venus conjunct every couple of years. A little less than. And what I'm really trying to say with that is it's a relatively common enough transit that it's not one that we need to get massively excited about, right? It's not like, and it's it's the fact that you've got the male planet and the female planet conjuncting. I think those of us who have more romantic priorities will look at something like Mars-Venus conjunctions and squares and oppositions, but especially the conjunctions, as especially meaningful. For me, transits at any given point in time are part of an ongoing narrative. And it's that narrative that is important and relevant. There's a story for me as an astrologer behind this Mars-Venus conjunction. That story takes us back to July or so, and some of you have heard me say it. I don't know what happened to that curtain. I'm not going to bother about the curtain. You've seen this backdrop before. It's something's going on over there, and whatever. I'm about to tell you a story. July 2023, Venus went retrograde in the sign of Leo. When a planet goes retrograde, I pay attention to, and I'm not the only one who pays attention to this, what aspects that planet is going to make 3 times. Once when it's direct, once when it's retrograde, once when it's direct. And it goes 3 times over the same degrees. So what aspects is it making? From where to where? And what is being reworked to some extent? I also pay attention to where was the planet headed and what aspect was it getting ready to make before it went retrograde? Because there's something about that particular aspect that then it doesn't happen. It's like it's leading to something, and then the planet, if 2 planets were going to conjunct, one of the planets starts to pull back and goes retrograde, and the other planet moves ahead. And this was, of course, there was a Venus-Mars conjunction due to happen, not really, because Venus was always due to go retrograde, but narratively, it was a conjunction that was due to happen and build in July of 2023, July of 2023. And then when Venus went retrograde, that is the one conjunction that could not and did not happen. Well, that conjunction finally occurs in the opposite sign, Venus and, Leo and Aquarius are signs opposite each other. And the conjunction is going to happen in the sign of Aquarius in 2 days' time. For some people, the Venus-Mars conjunction may, in terms of conventional astrology, mean some sort of a culmination. And it could be, and it is. Except, and I'm going to expand on all that. The male and the female planet are meeting up. The yin and the yang planet are meeting up. The planet of action and going after what you want and protecting what you want, conflict, desire, action, activity, yang activity, Mars, and the planet of peacefully letting things happen, natural flow, tapping into the force that makes the grass grow and the vines grow and the birds sing, sort of the natural order of flow of life, almost inaction or Taoist inaction, where action occurs and things are happening and the life force is making things move, but you're not, you could argue, the passive planet as opposed to Mars being the active planet. But the more feminine principle of surrender and non-deliberate effort. And of course, we need both principles, and the two are meeting up. For some people, over the next 2 days, you may see results of something or towards something. The one thing I want to tell you is, this is my concern with this conjunction, is that people are going to be expecting something big to happen by the 21st or 22nd. And as I said, it might, for some of us, there could be an offer that comes through, an email that comes. It may be that there is a development related to the Aquarius part of our chart that occurs. And occurs in such a way that it allows the planets transiting Jupiter, Taurus, specifically Jupiter and Uranus, to do what they're trying to do in the Taurus part of our chart as they make those transits. I'm going to expand on all of this. Be patient with me. We talked yesterday about the fact that no matter how much we may study our charts, how much we may practice astrology, how much we may consult with readers and mediums and all that kind of stuff, how much we may try to get a sense, sometimes anxiously, of trying to understand what is going to happen when, and how's this going to happen, and is this going to happen, and is that going to happen, or is this going to be, or what is this going to look like, and what is that going to look like, and am I going to get this, or am I going to get that, or am I going to be this, or am I going to be that, or will this all happen, and will everything come to, no matter how much those of us are either practicing professionals in that arena or consumers in that arena, I hope that by now we have realized that we are not going to, as I said yesterday, get a telegram of what is going to happen before it occurs. Some of us may get intuitive hits related to something. Some of us may get, looking back, we may realize that, but you can try as hard as you like, but but life will still surprise you, and Spirit has the upper hand. And if there's something that you're absolutely not meant to know, you can knock on as many doors as you like, and you are not going to know it. I think that the primary purpose of astrology, for example, or tarot, is that adulthood pushes us out of our comfort zone so often that I think that Spirit may have, and this is just something I keep experimenting with as a practicing astrologer, put out some signs, some crutches, some support for us to get a sense of, this is what seems to be happening. Am I crazy? Like, is what is fundamentally going on in my life right now, can I get some evidence that I'm somehow on track, or it's supposed to be happening? Not everybody needs it. Some people I find are so in touch with their flow and how they're managing their lives, and sort of in control of their relationship with themselves, that they seem to play the alignment game quite well. And they seem to stay in some sort of flow. And they seem to manage things around them quite effectively. And as I've said to you, and it sounds bizarre for me as an astrologer to say it, you really don't need astrology. You really don't need to connect with someone. The purpose to connect with someone, I know that it helps me from this kind of magical perspective of correlation, but also giving me clues about flow and decision making. Okay, so it's there as an aid. It's there when we are out of our comfort zones and don't quite know what to do and are feeling a little bit like, I need some sort of confirmation that I am going in the right direction. I think it's there for that. I don't think it's there to say that you're going to get advanced knowledge or a heads up of what is going to occur in 2 days' time or 4 days' time or 12 years' time necessarily. And even if you're good enough as an astrologer or smart enough or have figured out the secrets to do that, I don't think that's why we're here. So when it comes to this Venus-Mars conjunction, or when it comes to any aspect, just as there's so much talk about manifesting and visualization, I really think that one of the challenges with things like visualizing, I'm saying this because when it comes to certain types of aspects, we project. This is going to happen by then, and this is going to happen. This is how this is going to show up, and this is how. And with certain aspects that are positive, what breaks my heart a little as an astrologer is when I see either myself, but especially my clients, think that this is going to bring this for me, and this is going to be that big. And when it doesn't work out that way, they're crushed by it. Now, we go through this in day-to-day life, right? We apply for jobs, and the majority of them often don't work out, because it's that principle of knocking on 10 or 12 different doors and banging your head against 11, and the one that's meant for you will open and it will pull you in. And we've all had that experience of how certain things just happen with ease and how other things just don't happen no matter how hard we try or want something. And this principle of wanting, projecting, thinking about it, desiring, oh, wouldn't it be so great? Oh, I want this so badly. Or thinking that a transit means something, I find is a very tricky proposition. And I find that for those people who are into sort of the law of attraction, it's such a 2022, 23, 24, and even a little bit before that game, I think that the danger with visualization is that if you project desire into it and a wanting into it, I think you've really got to do it without any attachment to outcome, which is so hard to do. Which is one of the reasons why I prefer to not play that game and to not do it, because I kind of want to be open to what Spirit brings. I have a general sense of what I want, and I'm not an expert at this, and I'm not always successful with this. In fact, I may not be successful with this at all. What I've learned is that there are times when I have thought about or visualized something and it has shown up. But I can tell you that after something kind of clarified itself as a vision, I didn't put any more energy into it. And then it was there. But whenever I've tried to think about something or visualize something, and it has gotten an attachment to it, a desire to it, a hankering after, a hunger for it, it's almost like in the quantum field it pushes it away. Some people may say that it's because I'm placing that thing above me. I'm placing it as though, oh my God, I want that thing, and therefore I'm not at the vibration to receive it. And that makes sense to me. I just think that that game is tricky. And I think that when it comes to, oh, Venus is going to trine Jupiter. Oh, it's the luckiest aspect of the year. Oh, Venus is going to conjunct Mars. Oh, and I'm just like, these transits happen all the time, and we think this thing is going to happen, and I'm just like, it's not how it works. But in my experience as an astrologer, I stay in the game and I do what I do, and I do these videos and I do because I am astonished by what does work. And what does work to me is the fact that Venus and Mars were going to conjunct in July. Venus went retrograde. We have had since July what I will call a projection into the future. I have been calling it the carrot at the end of the stick. This is where I want to go. This is what I want. This is okay, it seems so clear to me. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to move forward and get it. I'm going to move forward. And we've had obstacle after obstacle, roadblock after roadblock, delay after delay, which has confused so many of us with regard to, wait a second, I thought I was going to go in this direction. I thought I was going to do this. Thought I was going to get this. I thought I was aligned. So why are these things showing up that either keep pulling me back or keeping me in a particular place? I suspect with this Venus-Mars conjunction in Aquarius that we are going from not yet to go for it. So if there has been some sort of a vision for yourself with regard to what is next for you and what you want to pursue, particularly as it relates to the Aries and the Taurus parts of your chart, and particularly in the way that it assists Jupiter in Taurus end a 12-13 year cycle and start a 12-13 year cycle in the house occupied by Taurus, and Uranus allow you to become more authentic and specific in the way manifestations in the Taurus part of the chart are going to unfold for you. If whatever that carrot at the end of the stick with had some sort of a correlation for you with subject matters and people that live in the Aries and Taurus parts of the chart, the houses in your chart that are occupied by Aries and Taurus and what those stand for, then it could be that since July to now, you have mysteriously not been able to go after. The path has not been clear. And not only has the path not been clear, even if you started to move to the path, not only could you have experienced roadblocks and certain occurrences, you may have taken steps toward the path only to find Spirit go, not yet, and pull you back. With Venus and Mars conjuncting Pluto last week, conjuncting each other in 2 days' time, and then especially this week moving forward to square Jupiter in Taurus. And during this new moon cycle in Aquarius, Venus and Mars will trine the South Node in Libra and square Uranus in Taurus by March the 10th. Whatever it is that Mars and Venus needed to burn off, and it could be something physical, it could be a circumstance or a set of circumstances, it could also be our relationship to our Mars self and our Venus self. And it could be something that we have been pondering. Transformation can occur in a healthy and a productive way once we transform. Once we process what it is that we want to process. And we start to accept that certain behaviors and patterns, in Mars's case, how we pursue our goals, how we deal with conflict, our temper, how we deal with conflict. And in Venus's case, our relationship to relationships and our relationship to money and earning and what we value, how we value ourselves, how we translate it into income. The conjunctions with Pluto not only have pointed to Pluto's agenda in Aquarius over the next 19 years, but they also, because these planets sat down and had tea with Pluto, the planet of death and transformation, Pluto could very well have had a conversation with our Mars side and our Venus side and said, time to burn off an old way of being, particularly as it relates to the Aquarius part of your chart, the house occupied by Aquarius. Time to conjunct. The conjunction squares Jupiter in Taurus. So the conjunction of Venus and Mars is in direct conversation with Jupiter in Taurus. And as I said, as the week progresses, both Venus and Mars will square Jupiter in Taurus. So a set of activities continue to be inaugurated, continue to occur in the Aquarius part of the chart so that they allow Jupiter in Taurus to complete a 12-13-year cycle and start a 12-13-year cycle and help put us on a path that either expand our opportunities if we're on the right track in the Taurus part of our chart or help move us in the right path. It could even be creating an ending. But with the Venus-Mars conjunction now, we're going from a time period that said not yet. And through the conjunctions with Pluto last week, and as we head to the conjunction of Venus and Mars in the next couple of days, it would not surprise me is if you processed what has occurred in the last 10 days for you to go, oh, I now understand why I was held in place. And now I see that Spirit has moved from not yet to go for it. Now, go for it might mean for some people that something shows up immediately over the next few days, next week or so, that pulls you in a certain direction, that feels like, oh, these are the things, these are the developments that I've been waiting for in the Aquarius part of the chart so that I can continue to see 2024 grow and move forward and help me pursue the goals related to what I want 2024 to be about. For some people, I suspect that for most people, going from not yet to go for it means, oh, I can't really get to that carrot at the end. I can't go grab the carrot at the end of the stick right now, but I see the path finally open up for me to really be able to move towards it. Some of us may grab it in the next week, some of us in the next 2 weeks, some of us in the next month, some of us in the next 6 months, some of us in the next 8 months. But because to get from where we are to a desired state means other things have to transform and other decisions need to be made too. And all those things have somehow been put on hold and been paralyzed between July 2023 and February 2024. And now with these Pluto conjunctions with Venus and Mars last week, and Venus and Mars conjuncting each other this week and squaring Jupiter, and then getting ready to trine the South Node and square Uranus while they're in Aquarius, it is all right. The gates are open. Whatever it was, why ever it was that you needed to stay in place, has now been burned off. And while you may not be able to go grab that carrot immediately, whatever was holding you back and made decision-making an impossibility, or made moving forward an impossibility, has likely run its course. So to get to the carrot on the stick now is a partnership with spirit. And I would advise you to not put a timeline around it, but to start to move towards it and see what continues to open up. The only reason a certain amount of time is going to be taken is because in order for you to move from A to Z, you've got to deal with A so that you can actually move towards Z. You can't take A all the way with you to Z. There's something about this. There's something about this. And so for some people, it's going to be like, all right, I'm ready. I can do this shift in 2 days. For some people, it's going to be like, oh, it's going to take me 6 months. As I said, do not put a timeline around this. Recognize that it is also move forward time. This is part of the reason why I will also say, since the middle of January, as I've been saying, get on the horse, take action, urgency, etc. I am not despairing if you're feeling like, I wanted to get to so much more, I want to do so much more by this time. You've still got time. You've still got the planets, you've still got the 2 manifestation planets, Mars and Venus, in the sign of Aquarius. The new moon in Pisces does not happen till March the 10th. And I think Mars clears Aquarius on March 22nd. Am I losing my mind? Hold your horses. Once again, I tell you to hold your horses. March 22nd. So till March the 22nd, we still have planets transiting Aquarius. Mars. Venus finishes its transit on March the 11th. Till March 25th or so, it really is manifestation time. April 1st is when Mercury goes retrograde in Aries. And we get that. All right. We've galloped through January, February, and March. And now the universe has to point out to us what in this gallop is in our blind spot and needs to be incorporated before we can move forward again by the end of April. The only thing that is shifting is we now have to start to, and this is also part of the narrative. I've told you all along that whatever developments, actions have needed to be taken in January and February and even in March in the Capricorn and Aquarius parts of the chart in such a way that they are forward moving and are in conversation with the North Node and Chiron in Aries and Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus have to be balanced by taking responsible action and cleaning up the mess in the Pisces part of the chart. And we begin that process. And it could very well be that the clearance now to go after whatever it is that we want goes hand in hand. Part of what needs to be taken care of and sorted out and managed is some of the responsible action needing to be taken in the Pisces part of the chart. So we've just gone from pure expansiveness from the middle of January to, let's say, the middle of February, to starting to feel the Pisces part of the chart more over the last week. And this feeling is going to become more and more pronounced as we head towards the 28th of February. But the fact that the planets are going to be moving into Pisces gradually and conjuncting Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces does not mean that expansive action needs to play second fiddle to these energies, especially till March the 22nd, and especially now. So continue to go for it. Whatever it is that you may have felt that you needed to pursue, whatever direction you thought you needed to move in July and August of 2023, if you have felt like you could not make significant progress in that direction, it confused you and you wondered why the path was not clearing, by now, hopefully, the path should be clear. For each of us, what we need to do to move in that direction is dependent on, to some extent, on what we need to clean up in the Pisces part of the chart. But is dependent on the nature and the scope of the transition that you are pondering. If you want to move from Johannesburg to London and you have a house in Johannesburg, it's not you may have been trying, and for some reason you wanted to make that move. You may have been trying, and that's part of the vision of what you wanted. I don't know what your goal is. If you're doing something like that, we can make it. I don't want to invent so completely a sort of fictional narrative here, but whatever was completely blocking you from being able to even consider the move, or you felt like you couldn't make progress, would now have disappeared or have been burned off, and now you can contemplate that. How quickly you make the transition is dependent on what you have to manage and what you have to move and sort out to make that move and transition. But we are moving away from impediments and blockages to a clearer path. And it remains imperative to continue to take action in the Aquarius part of our chart. Even though we're going to feel the pressure building and we're going to be taking action in the Pisces part of our chart as well, and more on that in the next few videos, but it remains imperative to take action in the Aquarius part of our chart to help Jupiter and Uranus have successful transits through the Taurus part of our charts. The Venus-Mars conjunction squares Jupiter. And whatever has been cleared, if you know the Taurus part of our chart, it would not surprise me at all if you can make a correlation between whatever it is that is cleared to the opportunity it creates for you in the Taurus part of the chart, and also to the Aries part of your chart where the North Node is. Because the South Node is in Libra, and the trines to the South Node will help you release what needs to be released in the Libra part of your chart, the house occupied by Libra, to help you move forward. As I said, continue to be in action over the next couple of days in the Aquarius part of your chart. By all means, continue to plant those seeds. If for some reason you're not able to get to it, do not despair. Venus and Mars is still there. Continue to take action of it during the month of February, during the month of March. There is this thing that feels like the sooner the better. So the more you address how you are prioritizing your days and your responsibilities, sometimes things happen, particularly with those Pluto conjunctions, where you can't get to what you want to get to. You have to deal with something urgent or a crisis, or you just can't. But see if you can start to find that balance again and kind of do that Two of Pentacles dance that I referred to in yesterday's video, that juggling the Aquarius part of the chart with responsible action, expansive, goal-pursuing, relationship activities in the Aquarius part of the chart with responsible crisis management in the Pisces part of the chart. Keeping both those balls going, but keep both of them going, including the Aquarius one. And if you're able to take some action over the next couple of days, great. If not, irrespective, the path will have cleared. And you might find now that you're like, oh, wow, I still don't have all the answers and all the resources, and everything is not behind me and everything has not come together. I can't just go grab that carrot or get on the proverbial plane or train or automobile or whatever it is. But whatever was weighing me down or blocking me no longer is. I will leave it at that. If you found this video useful, share it with your friends. Tell them about my channel. If you're interested in a reading, please find my email address in the description box below, and you can email me there and I'll send you information about rates. Like the video, comment on it if you like. I have to tell you, I am so enjoying both the growth of this channel and sort of the community it is building for me online. I'll talk about that more in my next video briefly. So I'm really grateful to people who are taking the time to kind of connect. It's been a really pleasant byproduct of what I've been doing. Just unexpected and lovely and positive. And yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on the bell icon next to it, the wiggly bell on top, and you'll be notified when I do new videos. I'm going to keep it at that. Hopefully this video gives you something to think about as you go back to last July, August. And we'll take it from there. Thanks.